Today, took an awful lot of people, an awful lot of effort, and you got to see the real tour de force of Mobilise today. This was the contribution from the entire Mobilise team. You got to see and meet, hopefully, the representatives and people working in all aspects of Mobilise. We had the keynote speakers who set the tone and gave us some context for the area and for the two major themes. Really got a strong sense about the patient involvement and the priority in patients throughout and their contribution to Mobilise. Saw the external experts who made up our panel who gave their thoughts and the ideas on how to improve, go forward, other alternatives, things that had not been mentioned before. You heard from the clinical validation team and their data, and they represented over 300 collaborators from the academia and FPA group. All of you brought your expertise, and hopefully you got into some good discussions with people, able to share ideas. Obviously, the special thanks goes to the more than 2,500 study participants who were enrolled. Again, thank you to the external committee members from Mobilise who had been part of this all the way along. And special thanks to the conference organizing committee. A special thanks to Isabel and to Anne, who they kept us organized and informed, and miraculously, with the myriad of emails, it was never too much. They were just tremendous. So thank you to all. So just to hit some of another view of some of the major advances as Mobilise completes its analysis and publications. And so what has been done and what will be done. So the contribution of being able to publish this new clinically validated algorithm and reference data, and work will be to put the algorithm in a form which is user-friendly. And we saw the obstacle for use, and that is really being able to have tools and make it easy for that. The external or the communities, whether it be drug development, academia, or whomever, to actually implement things. Recently, the FPA group met and just talked about some of the key obstacles. Basically, this similar question to what you just answered. What are the key obstacles within your organization that prevents digital mobility outcomes to be included in clinical trials? And the number one thing was that there's no reference data. So drug trials are expensive, and they require, it's a data-driven business, and without the data to demonstrate that certain variables can, in fact, are correlated to traditional clinical endpoints and have meaning, and actually there's a confidence that comes with that. It's a huge obstacle, and the publishing of the Mobilise data in 4 indications. So the opportunity, as you saw, to see general across the board that could be applied to independent of disease area, and potentially the disease-specific endpoints will fill that gap. That will be a huge contribution and should open the gates to having more organizations be able to integrate the digital technology into their studies. You heard about the conversations with EMA and FDA and the successes moving forward. And these were all based on just theory. There were no data shown to the organization. But Mobilise has established a credibility that allowed the conversations with health authorities to take place and still have encouraging positive outcomes. The hard work, the technical validation study, the clinical validation study, that created a foundation of knowledge that will allow not only everybody in the room, but in the general scientific community and elsewhere to build upon that. So it gives everybody a much higher starting point and a credibility point. The idea of establishing standards for technology and for clinical trial application of the technologies, so best practices, and is a huge contribution. Prioritizing the understanding of the patient experience. You heard about it, and you heard it directly about from the very beginning all the way through, and also the feedback that the study participants have provided to, again, extend the learning of this group of Mobilise-D that will be shared externally on, so others will benefit from that understanding and learning. There's a tremendous commitment from the academic side in particular to build the future researchers, clinicians, and leaders. And so there's a lot invested in this, and this has been a great success. And to also start to make headway in the roadmap for the development of a DMO. So if we think of this as sort of the pathway, somewhat of an abbreviated pathway, and look in the upper left corner, you see that that's where Mobilise started, 2019, and where we are in 2024. And all the things that have been achieved, again, this foundational knowledge of technical validation, clinical validation, really sets things up to actually take that next big step and go into the intervention trials and to be able to convince drug development organizations, pharma, and it could be, instead of a new medicine, it could be a technology intervention. So there are many applications of this, and so we're excited about moving forward with to incorporate and identify intervention clinical trials. Again, conversations with the health authorities, really waiting for data, waiting for the next step to be able, that could help clarify the pathway to getting to qualification. One of the things about Mobilise-D is that while it's officially, the IMI part is coming to a close in June, the group is going to continue to collaborate. The idea and the conversations started over a year ago on, so how can we continue the collaboration? Because no one wants to stop now. The idea is people have made this level of progress. How can we continue to push and advance moving towards the ultimate goal of what Laurent was describing, and that is qualification of the endpoint. So very pleased to announce that the FPA partners, and you can see the members on the bottom, this group came together, and it became clear what was needed for the Mobilise-D organization was it needed time, it needed additional funding, and it needed additional resources. So this group has stepped forward and is going to independently fund another consortium that will begin the day after the Mobilise-D officially ends. So it'll be a 2-year commitment. It will start the 1st of July of this year. And the objective it's a very narrow objective, and that is to build on the foundation of knowledge that has been generated by Mobilise-D, and to be able to ensure that all of the data will be analyzed, all the complete data sets. So what is published and what is ultimately released to the general community will be all the work that has gone on and that the Mobilise-D team has done throughout the 5-year period. In addition, there'll be a strong focus, so one, providing the data that is needed for people to say, okay, here's the confidence that we have an endpoint, that we can then integrate technology and use it ourselves. The other piece you heard is ease of use. It's if it takes a lot of skill and a lot of experience to implement what has been gained throughout Mobilise-D, then that's a clear obstacle for success. And actually it was listed as one of the obstacles here. So as part of the next 2 years, there'll be a real focus on describing best practices. In particular, there'll be manuals. There'll be a technical implementation manual and a clinical implementation manual that will be written to the level that people don't have experience. And so what do I do if I want to start? And so those manuals will be made available openly to the public. And in addition, the knowledge gained from the experience in both the technical validation and data cleaning, the whole management, the process, as well as from the CVS, all of the clinical trial team knowledge that was learned, that will also be integrated into the manuals. So literally what has been learned, the knowledge piece and experience, will be communicated in a way that others can use it and will increase the opportunity and the chance for success for people to adopt what Mobilise has created and to continue to advance the field. Lynn?
Thanks, Dan, for that fantastic summary. And I'm aware of the time, and don't worry, I'm not going to take too long. So I'd just like to endorse all the thank yous, fully endorse all the thank yous that Dan gave. In the interest of time, I won't go through the list again, but we are extremely grateful to everybody here and all of the groups that have interacted with us, including patients. For me personally, it's been an incredible privilege to be the coordinator of Mobilise-D. I can't believe that I've had that opportunity. I would have been happy just to be involved in one of the work packages, but to be working with the amazing people that I've had the opportunity to work with has been an enormous privilege to me. So I thought we'd finished our work. I can't believe that last panel discussion. John, I don't know if our project officer is here, but we need another 50 million to get the rest of the job done. That being said, we all know the gap that exists when a project ends. I call it the death zone that your research seems to fall into, particularly academic research, when you just don't have that extra bit of funding to do the implementation and sustainability. And we're in a fantastic place now with the industry commitment and the SUSTAIN project that Dan has just introduced, and the opportunity to really retain the consortium structure. And that is going to be the platform that we really move forward from. And we'll continue our academic commitment. We've got lots and lots of ways to bring additional work in. We fully intend to continue to work with patients and societies. And we also fully intend to increase our engagement with healthcare professionals, systems and regulators. And this really echoes the comments that we've heard in the panel discussion. But one other piece that we need to really step up is to really extend our networking and shared learning and reach out. We've had fantastic collaboration through Diane Stevenson, the Critical Path Institute, but we also want to continue that, grow that, and reach out and work with Digital Medicine Society, for example, and IdeaFast as other exemplars. Two things from me about what sort of impact have we had? Well, I think we started out with our grand challenges, and I mentioned Mission Impossible. And I think that we have achieved, it wasn't Mission Impossible, I think we set out on a mission and we've achieved it. But what I do think we've achieved is a solid foundation that means that we are confident we can get to the next stages where we really are looking at implementation of digital mobility outcomes. And to be able to stand here and say that today is it's a huge thing for me to be able to say, because thinking about where we started and where we've got to, there's been enormous strides forward. But what I also think is, and we've heard it very clearly, There's going to be a huge push that comes from patients and patient societies and clinicians, and it's going to be that push as well as industry trials that are really going to bring this forward. And I really encourage patients and patient societies to start demanding that more work is done around the issues of implementation and scaling into those environments. That's really important. We weren't funded to do that, but we are acutely aware that this is important. And this is what all of the clinicians, all of us want to ultimately achieve. So 2 last slides. You make a road by walking on it. Mobilized theme there. This is a Nicaraguan proverb. And we all need to share the responsibility to contribute to the next steps. It's not on the shoulders of a few people, it's on the shoulders of all of us to take this forward. So please join us. That's our call to action. Work with us to get us towards sustainable use of these digital technologies. We will be in touch with you to send you out further information, to ask you some further questions, and we will share with you what we've produced from today. Last but not least, the eagle-eyed amongst you will know that you've been given sustainability was the theme of this project. Your badges and lanyards, those beautiful lanyards that stick out like this, to promote who you are, you can plant them and they will grow a meadow. So I encourage you to plant your badges and lanyards and plant a mobility meadow as a reminder that we need to keep pushing to achieve this. So every time you look at that, the flowers that bloom, think about what you're doing when you take up that challenge. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your engagement. We really look forward to a relaxed evening of fun and chat and further networking. And that's my last word.